Big got law, window door, dirt frost, waterfall.
Welcome back to the
She my
Basement.
dog.
I'm your host Nocturnal, and today we got a dude that's been repping the city hard, man. Been doing a lot of great stuff. I see on his Instagram, great freestyler. You know, spreading positive messages and stuff like that. Seeing he's got his own, you know, kind of festival and his own kind of I would maybe call it like a label or you know a movement. We got K TRIGGS in here, man. What's going on, brother?
Not much. Bless you. Thanks so much again for having me on. I really appreciate what you're doing here and representing artists like myself all throughout the 905 and, what we're doing here. We're just trying to get exposure and build something. So thank you again so much for having me on.
My pleasure. So, man, I wanna get started with the early life, your upbringing in Hamilton. Tell me like a little bit more about yourself, your upbringing, and like how you got into music.
Yeah, man. Well, honestly, a lot of it started with like my family because
Yeah.
I was raised by, a single mother growing up and like she had three kids. So, we didn't have a lot of money and like there was just times where we struggled and
Yeah.
to get into it, it wasn't super easy. We've lived in shelters, all of us, my mom and my two sisters,
Mm.
we've lived in shelters, one room for the whole family before. And that struggle and that life that I lived, I don't know, as I got older, it made me want to work harder and want more for myself and more for my family. And, my mom was always a big fan of like 90's hip hop, like Big Daddy Kane and
I was gonna say, when I listen to you, yeah, when I listen to you, I think of the '90s, the '80s. You know what I mean? You're old school.
Well, and that's kind of where my inspiration comes from. Like, I'll show you something on my wall. Is Tupac. This is my own home, my room here at home. And Tupac sits on my wall because
Okay.
he's a legend in my mind, and
Yeah.
he's an inspiration to me as an artist because he represented the times that he lived in, and that's what I always try to do. And as an artist, when I first started making music when I was young, I used that poverty and that experience, what I endured, and the stuff that me and my family went through as a way to speak on that. Like, my mom was married to a guy who he abused us, and like that's relative, but that domestic violence is something that's contemporary and applies to a lot more people than just me in this current era.
Mm. So, who are some of your favorite artists growing up, man? You said Tupac. Give me like a solid three that you know that you always go to.
Oh, for sure, definitely Pac, definitely Eminem, for sure. Eminem, like, he's one of my inspirations, but over time, my opinion might have changed on his lyrics and what he does, but to his core, he always is one of my inspirations growing up. Yeah, Pac, Eminem, and like Andre 3000, man. I love Andre. I got such a big
Low key crazy.
fan of his music, and I always have been.
High key.
Andre and Outkast, I like what they do with their style, and for some reason, it always inspired me to make more music, and that's what I like so much about a guy like Pac or a guy like Eminem. He
Yeah.
inspires you when I hear a song like "Sing for the Moment" or a song like Brenda's Got a Baby. It
Yeah.
inspires me to hear the music and want to be part of it.
Did you listen to Eminem's verse on Friday Night Cypher?
I actually I did, and like I said, he's one of the most amazing lyricists of all time.
Yeah.
It's just for my own personal liking of his music, like that one of his new albums, like it wasn't like my favorite. Like I listen to a lot of older Eminem. When I gravitate toward it, I gravitate toward more like Infinite to Curtain Call.
True. Okay.
Yeah, like, and that's just because that's what I grew up on, right? It's not that I
Yeah.
don't like Eminem. I grew up on those albums. I grew up on the Slim Shady LP, the Eminem Show.
So is that what got you into freestyling then, man?
I really like. It's funny because for a long time, like I thought I sounded too much like Eminem with my like lyrical like composition and how I brought my syllables together.
Yeah.
And I got a lot of comparisons at first when I was just freestyling, like because at school that's how I got my start. Is like me and my friends, we just freestyle battle outside of the school and it was just fun. Like I didn't really take it as anything really super serious. And as time went on, I realized that this was something that I really had a love for, and it made me feel so alive when I was doing it. And that's what made me choose to really pursue things in the way that I have in the last few years, because I've only been doing this since 2018.
When did you start to make your first song?
Yeah, that's
Was
what I was just actually getting into. So
Original.
like in 2018, I bought my first like microphone and everything, and I made my own first recording set up, which I had in my house at the time, like in my little closet in my room. Um, and I just recorded a couple songs. I recorded the Taku remix, and that's the first song I ever posted. It's like a freestyle about my family. and the things we went through, and like, because again, that's a really important aspect of my life. So I always try to touch on that when I speak on my experience, because without them, I wouldn't be where I am today.
I also seen on the gram that you've been to a couple of radio stations freestyling, man. What's that experience like? Kind of being in front of people like that. You because like you're confident. I see it with your music and stuff. Like you know what I mean. I see you performing and stuff like that, getting the crowd going. I'm very curious. Like, what's it like, kind of going into a radio station freestyling? You know what I mean? On air, people around you. What's that like?
Honestly, it's a little nerve wracking at times, but I always just try to, like, I don't know if you ever noticed this, but I kind of close my eyes a lot of the time, and it's because in the moment I'm not really there. I'm kind of in my own head and I'm lost in my own world, and like especially when freestyling, like because that's something that I do just as like an exercise because I enjoy it. It's just fun. I sit around, I freestyle with my friends when we're having some beers or smoking a joint or whatever. And we just kick some freestyles, and it's just part of the culture, and I'm not everybody likes it, but I really enjoy it in a way that a lot of other people don't. And for when it comes to things like that in those situations, I'm really the type of guy that I just try to block out everything else, and I keep occupied and I keep focused on the moment. When I'm on the radio like that, like Jay, for example, the Live and Direct show. I've been on the Live and Direct show 3 or 4 different times, and every time he's very welcoming and very like open with what I do and allows me to take control. So like I'm grateful to have that kind of creative control with the microphone, because a lot of artists, they get on and they freestyle and they just have like a minute or so, they get a time slot, whereas I'm kind of allowed to go, and just play with.
That's pretty crazy. So Jay from Live and Direct, Hamilton radio station.
Yeah, at 93.3 CFMU, Jay Steele and Iron Mike, they run the Live and Direct show. That's one of the shows that I did a freestyle on. But then I was on Soul Kitchen Radio, which is run by DJ Infamous and John Kitchen. They're both really old school heads. All these guys are about the 90's boom bap music, but they still tailor to the new wave. It's not like they haven't moved forward with times, which I think is relevant because you have to stay relevant in these times if you wanna compete.
So yeah, it definitely does not sound like what 90s rap sounded like, man. Things have changed for sure. I listened to A Good Time. That was the first song I listened to of yours. And like I said, there's a lot of 80s, 90s influence on that. What type of beats are you looking for, bro, when you're picking your beats? Like, is it mainly like that type of vibe, or do you like to switch it up? Because I heard a couple of other songs of yours that you're versatile with it, but like I think like that's kind of like your go-to kind of thing. You know what I mean? The 80s, 90s beat. You know?
For sure. My real staple is the boom bap, East Coast, Big L type vibe. I do really love it, and it sits with me and resonates with me in a way that nothing else does. But the thing is like you said, as an artist, you have to be willing to, compromise, and you have to be willing to adapt with the times, right? Like I love boom bap, but at the same time, boom bap is slowly becoming not as popular as a lot of these other mainstream waves and lo-fi type stuff, and like so. For instance, I did a feature on Young Vinny, showed him out. He released his album today, Young Big Dreams, Vinny A. We did a song called Stunt With Me, where I did some more auto-tune type singing stuff, which is, I love the boom bap. I truly do. And it's my go-to, like you said, my bread and butter, if you want to speak it like that. But when it comes to music, as an artist, you can't just be one dimensional.
Yeah, you gotta
You
be
have to
versatile.
take
100%.
time to expand your horizon.
100%. Yeah, it's a lot more. Little baby 808s hitting. You know what I mean right now? That's kind of like
Yeah,
the vibe.
exactly.
But yeah, but you know what? I like the old school stuff too, man. There's a time and place for everything. You know?
Exactly. I agree.
Yeah. So talk to me about your like you and promoting, because I feel like you're a marketing man. You know what I mean? You're always on Instagram sharing your stuff and letting people know like what's going on with you. Kind of tell me about the importance of like marketing and how and what you've done to kind of or what you learned um over the past 2 years that you've been doing this to kind of get your music out there.
Well, honestly, I'll tell you that that's a really good question. That's something that no one's really asked me before. So I think that's a really great way to like kind of address that content, because it's such a kind of undressed part of the industry. Everyone thinks that music just speaks for itself. But yes, if you're talented, your talent does speak for itself. But if you promote yourself to the wrong people, like for example, I'm a boom bap artist. So if I go and promote my music to people in Atlanta that listen to drill music,
Yeah.
they're probably not going to give a shit. And that's not because I'm not good. That's just because they don't listen to that kind of music. They just scroll by it. It's people have really short attention spans, man. So like when I looked at it, I was like, I have to figure out a way to catch people within 10 seconds, within 5 seconds, because otherwise they're just scrolling down their phone, they're looking at Instagram, they're on the toilet, they're at work, whatever they're doing. You know what I mean? And they're just swiping, and that's reasonable. I understand. I do that sometimes.
Yeah.
But that's why as an artist for marketing and and things like that, like I don't have an actual representation or a marketing like scheme or design. I just I look at it as a hustle. So every day you have to be willing to hustle your image, and you're trying to sell yourself to these people and to your audience, and you're trying to build that original genuine following of people that support you. And like I have slowly and surely built a small following. It's not fucking massive, it's not huge, it's people that support me, but I know they support me and they show me that love, and I am so grateful for that, because without it, this music is it's great, but it also isn't as satisfying. That makes it so much more satisfying and so much more worthwhile to see the response I get from the people that I market this myself as a product towards, and freedom speech and all the different things I do.
Who have you met in the Hamilton area that you kind of made a good connection with that has helped you out with that type of stuff? Was there anyone in specific, or was it mainly you trying to figure that stuff out?
Well, man, that's a good point too. Is because like I didn't learn all these things by myself. Like to be honest, I had a lot of help. When it came down to it, I've had the privilege to work with a lot of really talented engineers, really talented artists like LT the Monk, like Wes Gray, really talented videographers like Brody, because Design Matters, and Mason the Massacre of Sound of the North. I've worked with Julius Wilson. I've had a very, very good privilege to be under the tutelage of some knowledgeable people in the industry that have taken the time to give me insights. So without them, I wouldn't be in the position I am. And it's not that I didn't put my best foot forward and try to attain that knowledge and work hard, but also these people took the time to give me a second look, and take me under their wing, so to speak, and try to help me out and help me learn things and grow as an artist. And as an artist, you take that upon yourself to do that too. But it's great to have people within the industry and people within your city that show you support in a professional manner, rather than just as like, oh yeah, you're doing good things on Instagram.
Freedom of speech, entertainment. Talk to me about that, man. So what is that is that a label, or is that just kind of mainly like a movement?
You know what I mean? Freedom of Speech is my production label. So it's not a distribution label. It's what it is my merchandise and my movement of freedom of speech. Because K TRIGGS as an artist I'm an individual, but freedom of speech itself is a concept. And what it comes down to is I want to encourage everybody to speak their mind. And so last year in 2019, I wanted to create a way to give back to my community, because Hamilton has done so much for me, and a lot of people in Hamilton support me and they want to see me succeed. And I want to see them succeed just as much as they want to see me succeed. So I wanted to find a way to give back to the community that helped raise me. So I hosted a festival at Woodlands Park for Kiwanis Boys and Girls Club to donate to charity, and I brought a whole bunch of performers out and whatnot. And this was all related toward bringing out people that are part of the community and wanted to alert everyone to what they do and how they contribute to the community, because it's not just art related or music related. It can be social services. It can be, cooking. It can be, pottery. It can be anything that you do that contributes to society, because everyone has their own contribution. And everyone has their own place,
Now, was that 905 Fest, or is that something?
Yeah, that was 905 Fest, exactly.
Okay, so how'd that go, bro? I saw a video on that. That looked pretty fire. Was it nice?
Yeah, the Born to Be video that was filmed by Toby Visuals. That was shot last year at Woodlands Park.
Okay.
And it was all about bringing the community together, right, and keeping people aware towards like at-risk youth. And because at that time when I was a kid, I was an at-risk youth, so I wanted to reach out to those kids and let them know that you're not alone, and there are services in the community to help you. And we had a lot of kids come out to play basketball, and we had some community health workers there for people who may want to talk to somebody and whatnot, because everybody deserves the opportunity in life to succeed. And if you choose to take that opportunity, that's on you. And that's kind of the message that freedom of speech is, embodies, is that you have your choice to use that voice, and it's up to you to use that voice. No one can force you to, but no one can take that away from you either.
So you got your new video mantra, right? Dropping this week?
Oh yeah, the new video mantra drops on September 30th. Actually, I've announced the release date. I'll have a full trailer coming out this week, this new week. The one I just dropped on Instagram is about a preview, just to show people kind of what's in store. And then this week, me and Brody at Because Design Matters, the gentleman who filmed and edited the video, we'll have a brand new official trailer this week before the September 30th drop, leading up to my Zen show on October 1st.
True. There's a lot of good videographers in Hamilton, for music videos. There's tons, bro.
Oh yeah.
There's
Oh
tons,
yeah.
bro.
Josh Tiller, Brody, Mason. Like I think the list goes on and on. B-Ran, 905. Like
So,
there's
CT
so
shot it.
many different photographers, and I've had the privilege to work with a lot of them. Slade Studios does some crazy work for Buddha. Apart from CC is an artist, but he's also a fantastic photographer and graphic designer. I can keep going. I keep going. Creative shots. I can still keep going. There's so many different videographers and photographers in the city, and they do so much, and they're so talented. Sarah Hotspot, she does her own photography, but she also is a journalist.
I've seen that.
I can keep going. There's so many.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. There's so many that a lot of people don't even know about, undiscovered. You know what I mean? But they got the potential to definitely, be huge in terms of video production here, man. It's crazy.
Everyone brings something different to the table, and like I could go on forever about what each of these people do and how talented they are in their own way. But it's up to the individual to what you want as an artist, right? So like for me, like Brody is someone I work with a lot because his design solutions are fantastic, and he's very direct, and I like his angle. So Brody is someone that I've chosen to work with a lot of my freedom freestyles and freedom speech content, and in this new mantra video.
And then you got a show at Zen, right?
That's correct, actually. October 1st, man. And I told you already, hopefully you can come out and make it. And if you're able to, I got that organized for you already. So, hopefully let me know if you're busy, and we'll for sure get you a spot.
You must know a lot of promoters and club managers then, eh?
I know a fair amount of promoters, but it's also about making connections. Honestly, when I don't know the owner of Zen personally until I reached out to him. I reached out to him a couple months ago, and I was like, hey man, like COVID kind of is coming to an end. Like, what are you up to? Would you like to, work something out? And then we got talking over a few months and connecting. And that's how we made a relationship and built an understanding, professionally speaking. And then I went there and we politicked. And that's how we got to our conclusion of how to have the show. But, a lot of people think that you got to have like somebody on the inside. Yeah, sometimes you do. But also it's about having the courage to just reach out and be like, hey, man, what's up with this? Or, do you like this? Or how, take a look at my website. I'm this artist, And a lot of people don't think about it like that. It's pretty simple.
What Hamilton artists you got on your mind kind of that you want to work with in the future, whether it be more, let's do artists and maybe some other people like graphic designers, videographers, but like what artists do you want to work with that you haven't worked with already?
Man, that's a really tough question because I haven't worked with too many artists. I've worked with LT the Monk. We have another song coming out. I had a song drop today with Young Vinny, Vinny A. I have a song coming out with Wes Gray. I have a lot more music coming, but someone I have not had the privilege to work with is Park from CC. Park is a good friend of mine. He's done videos for me, graphics, tons of other things. He's in the Underground Vibes show. I've not had the privilege to work with Park from CC, and he's arguably one of the most talented artists in the city. In my opinion, he's the best artist in the city. So.
I've not checked him out, bro. I'll have to check him out.
You gotta check him out, man. The guy is honestly, he's got the slaps. There's nobody else that does it like him, in my opinion. And like that's not a slight at anybody else in the city. Everybody's working hard, but the guy just he can sing, he can rap, he can do it all. He's an artist. Like I'm a rapper, right? I'm a hip hop artist, but this guy's a real artist. He can paint, he can fucking design clothes, he do it all.
He does it all. True.
Yeah, and that's what I mean is being an artist is different than just being a rapper, right?
Yeah. Man, anything else you want to touch on, man?
Man, I just want to touch on the fact that I think this is a really cool aspect that you're doing, to help promote the city and bring artists like myself into the light who maybe people don't see a lot of the time. And I always appreciate your support, and I'll continue to share your shit and whatnot. And what you're doing is great, and I hope you keep it up, man, because it's really great to see someone like you, just a normal guy like myself, just taking it upon himself to be part of the industry and want to be like an insider media angle. And I think that's really cool the way you've gone about it with like in your basement, like, I'm just chilling here on my headphones on my podcast and this is all I do is talk hip hop. Like almost like Charlemagne or like, like that type of deal, Joe Budden podcast type deal. I think that's super cool.
Appreciate that, brother. And appreciate you coming on here and, spreading the love and the positivity and, you know what I mean, doing the freedom freestyles and all that stuff, bro. And you're a great marketer too, eh? Has anyone? I'm sure people have told you that before.
Honestly, I will say honestly, I haven't heard that too many times, but I work really hard on trying to be more executive with my decisions and my production, and not just in relation to music, but with everything I do. Because freedom of speech is not just K TRIGGS as an artist; it's a brand and a business. So I really appreciate that because that gives me feedback on how I can move forward and how I can continue building on myself as an artist and as a brand and as a representative for my city. So I really appreciate that feedback. It makes me feel really positive about things moving forward and what I'm doing and how the direction I'm going.
I think got the personality for it, bro. Like for sure, you're like an extrovert, very energetic and stuff like that. So I think you're a great promoter. For hip hop and the city and stuff like that, bro. But thanks again for coming on here, man.
Big got law, window dog, dirt frosty, waterfall.